Today at How 15, through several researches studied and experienced in depth, we bring content that takes several weeks to prepare, a content that will surely help you a lot as it is something you will have to use throughout your life. I would say that this is the most important post you will see this year. Now get the recipe for how to bug the matrix and do extremely good in studies. Start. Always have a water bottle close by as your brain needs to stay hydrated while you use it. You can test it yourself and you will see that your study performance next to a water bottle will be greater than without anything. Get enough sleep. We don't mean that you need to sleep 9 or 8 hours, we are telling you that you need to get a good night's sleep and determine how much sleep you need to stay productive and happy during the day. Every day, many people take short 30-minute naps and break times during their day as a way to rest their brain. You can use that too. Honestly, I use it and I'm really enjoying it as it doesn't take up all my time and it helps me stay in the mood for my day. Productivity Corner. Let's start by saying that you have a corner to study, and one of the wisest things to do, don't try to study in your bed because it interferes a lot with your health, and I confused your brain that it won't spend much more energy to concentrate and differentiate if it's time for sleep or focus. Remember that your brain likes the comfort zone best, where it doesn't have to work very hard. Make sure your productivity corner already has everything you need, like water and a notebook, so you don't get up and procrast. Keep your study space well lit and airy, as this only improves your comfort, and it is unlikely that students who leave their room cluttered if they can concentrate more. Create a routine. With a well-established routine, things get so much easier that studying becomes more and more rewarding. Remember that successful people in any area of life have good, productive habits. Habits that get them where they want to go. Encourage and write down the tasks you want to do and set a schedule for each task and stick to those times at all costs. At first it may seem impossible, but over time you will see how easy it was and how your studies are now. Take care of your homework and make sure nothing gets in the way of your studies. Use a timer where you won't be able to do anything but study to zero. I particularly use this tip and recommend remembering not to set times too long or too small, to determine how much time you think is needed to complete this task in the best possible way. Another tip is to use the psychology of colors in your place of study. Use this as if it were a cheat code for GTA, because using this strategy is already something that keeps you ahead of 80%, 90% of the population in relation to studies. Why choose a color for the office? Nuclei can have a psychological effect and influence mood, such as emotions and even appetite. There's a reason that restaurants use the colors of the walls and floors they use, and that showrooms for advertising and products use certain colors. The colors you choose for your home office can have an effect on you, positive or negative when you're working, and science has turned out to be the best color for productivity and motivation. Selecting the right colors for your home office should go beyond your personal preferences. Psychologist Angela Wright developed the color effects system. His research sheds light on the psychology of color in the workplace and specifically how color affects office productivity. She used as a basis the 4 primary colors of the palette and how they affected emotions, physical reactions and thought processes. Let's leave some colors below. Blue, mind. Blues encourage thinking and concentration and are among the best to use in offices where repetitive work is done and you need to stay focused on the work for long periods of time. Green, balance. The shades of green tend to foster feelings of tranquility, that everything is fine. This builds trust and authority. Those who work in the financial sector and in other professions that involve trust and credibility can benefit from green decoration. It is also one of the colors that is shown to whet your appetite, so it is common to see the green used in restaurant decoration. Yellow, emotion. Yellows are one of the best color schemes for creativity, as research shows that yellows can positively stimulate emotions, increasing the feeling of happiness and pleasure. Yellow may be the best color for productivity for those engaged in creative and artistic work. We've already made a post about it and it's really worth your while to check it out. Make notes. Many students like to take notes as this keeps them active and even more interested in the subject. Making notes about their studies is much better to memorize. Don't just take simple notes, also ask yourself questions about the subject. This technique of taking notes and very similar to the Feynman technique. Greater than. If you can't explain something simply, then you don't understand the subject enough. Greater than. Greater than tweet. Ask questions about the study topic as discussed before. Be your own teacher and ask easy and difficult questions. Teach someone what you studied. You don't necessarily need to teach, you can explain what you're studying, and if you don't have someone to explain it, you can explain it to your pet or how the fairy studies technique explains on a sheet of paper. Go beyond the stuff you own. Do not depend on the material you have. If you already have the name of the kilo that should be studied, you can search the internet and see explanatory videos and much more. Solve and create questions. If you don't have questions to answer about what you're studying, try to create them yourself. You'll just need a little creativity. It's worth also after each study to write a text about what you learned in your own words. You can also take this time to reflect on the text. Integrate studies into personal life. What you are studying or studying before can be useful in a conversation. Remember that you will not necessarily use your studies only in the workplace, but also in your life and relationships with other people. Use spaced practice. Day 1, learn the material in class. Day 2, revisit and analyze. Day 3, revisit and analyze. After a week, revisit and review. After 2 weeks, revisit and analyze. Write in color. Making notes in color can seem like a child's thing, but a study found that colors can improve memory with it learning to. Colors like red and yellow for being strong and flashy can create a positive learning environment. These colors can also increase your attention as to work miracles at the time of the study. But don't overdo the colors, as this can be more of a hindrance than a help. We recommend that you do a search first. Do physical activities. Maybe you don't like physical activities, and that's not a problem. You don't necessarily need to start playing football or another sport to practice physical activities. You can do this at home in your study corner. Or do some crunches. It is very important to exercise your body because you are exercising your brain together, which releases substances that are responsible for your well-being and make you much more confident and calm. Do small exercises before studying for at least 20 minutes, as this can give you more energy during your time. Maybe that's why rich people prefer to go to school in the morning and study and work the rest of the day. Study before bed. Nobody wants to spend hours and hours of their day studying. For this, we strongly recommend that you use study techniques. One of them is to study a little before bed. When you're asleep, you refine them, making it easier to retrieve and apply them correctly when you need them most. This is important for how we learn, but also how we can help maintain healthy brain functions. Interact with humanoids for the sake of your health. Taking time to interact with your friends and family is good for your brain and motivates you much more to become focused and proactive in your studies. For this, you can set a time that will be less productive and start interacting with them. People can teach you new things, and interacting with them is a crucial part of your development. Make friends with people who share your interest and discuss ideas with them that will improve your learning process even more. We may disagree that everyone who interacts with other people develops their brain and protects it from cognitive decline and dementia. Feed like an evidence hacker. Eating well is one of the smartest ways to improve your studies because it's very simple. The brain needs nutrients. With the right nutrients, you become a superhuman in the learning requirement. Particularly, I think this tip is the most important one, that we recommend foods with omega-3 to provide the right amount of EPA and DHA for your brain to keep you well. I'm going to talk about the foods I have in my diet, and I particularly think that the effects of their nutrients are already having an excellent positive effect on my brain. These foods are chia seed, nuts, soybeans, broccoli and spinach. I also take an omega-3 supplement, and I highly recommend this practice, however, before I start taking this supplement. Just like the Greek gods, use sound to your advantage. Well, we've covered several technical and scientific issues on the subject so far. From now on, we would like to give you some more objective tips for studying while listening to music. Avoid singing songs. Without a doubt, this should be the main tip of this article. Since we tend to want to sing when we hear a song being sung, especially a familiar one, in addition, our minds take a while to return to fitness levels. So let's try to avoid songs like sung. Volume. Who doesn't like to listen to music very loud and not think about anything else? Yes, but when it comes to studying to listen to music, the advice is moderation. A good tip is to look for a volume that almost cancels out the ambient sound, that is, nothing that stands out too much in your mental field. Adverts. Certainly, one thing that can contribute to a loss of concentration is listening to a song and suddenly walking into an advertisement. So, if possible, look for ways to study listening to music without which it can be interrupted by advertising. Recommended music types. Is there any type of music that is, in fact, more suitable for all types of study? Again, the answer is no. However, there are songs that, in general, help in the memorization and learning process, such as classical music. Since this musical genre is pointed out by several researchers as the most favorable to the study. In addition, it is worth mentioning such as songs with children of nature and meditation as options that have many enthusiasts in their studies. Classic songs are not all the same. Talking about classical music is talking about something that covers at least more than 1,000 years of history, as this genre follows the development of society from antiquity to the present day. So, of course, there are a lot of differences between classical music. Even between songs by the same composer, there is a discrepancy, as these songs, as of today, were composed for different purposes. Just as an example, let's listen to Bach's Toccata E Fuga in D minor, one of the classics by one of the greatest composers in history. First of all, we realize that music takes us on a journey of strong emotions and even a certain tension. Putting it a little bit, we can actually feel like we're running away. So we must ask ourselves if this music is the best choice for those looking to sit down and concentrate on their studies. The rhythm and beauty of the music lead the listener to slow down the body and mind, favoring the process of concentration. In summary, a good tip is to study listening to low music, that is, with a slow or moderate rhythm. Finally, it is important to highlight that, in music streaming applications or on YouTube itself, there are playlists of classical music focused on concentration. Understand what works for you. No matter how good a script someone gives you, how many people you help, it could be that something works for most and doesn't work for you. The use of music is beneficial for many people, although there are people who cannot produce by listening to music. So try it out. Find what works best for you. Regarding the interaction between brain activity and music, several studies indicate that music can help with memorization, concentration and stress reduction. Thus, music can be a great ally of the student. However, music requires some caution when it comes to being used as a performance enhancer in studies. More specifically, it indicates the choice of quiet instrumental music, which appeals to students and does not have a fast pace. Without wanting to bother you, we ask that you share and enjoy this content with friends and family, as it is very simple to help us, you help yourself and the world. We appreciate your attention.